Xayah instead.
Start.
And when you have Zach, the team fighting god, combo it with the Feather Storm where you can continuously root people on top of the Kidnap, your team fighting prowess goes through the roof, and they will match with what appears to be the Callista. So lots of team fighting and even more skirmish early on from both these teams.
Foregoing those two very popular AD carries, we haven't seen a single Ashe in the series.
I think that teams have caught on to the vulnerability of Zach, which there are few, but one of them is that if he does not get in range of you, then you can't do anything. If you miss your slingshot, which so many Galio or Zacks do, and you're not in range of hitting that Q and your flash ultimate isn't quite there, Callista, an AD that can bounce around, dodge a few of your abilities, is one of the best picks against her. She builds a blade, she can kite you well, and stack endless amounts of spears in you that we would hope to see the spears go for a pierced Ren transfer and then kill somebody else as a result, but that's never happened, and it's just a dream. You dream things like that when you play League so much.
Definitely have. And yeah, I think that's a really good point. I definitely am getting the feeling that Afreeca is prepared for this Zach pick. I don't think it's just going to be Zach raffle stomping the entire Rift.
But remember the last Zach they played again, it was Mighty Bear. And that was probably the worst Zach I've seen in a while. I don't want to throw him under the bus, but he rolled over and he rolled down there himself. Kennen will be that last ban, so Jarvan just makes so much sense here, and finally Marin will take it away.
I would just like leave the Kennen open in hopes that Marin plays his AP Kennen.
Well, then you face the risk that they lock in a mid laner right away. You take Jarvan, you get a Kennen as a response, and if the Kennen, let's say that Marin decides to build properly and gets out of control, you are in a heap and helping of trouble.
Okay, another Camille, this time for Ntara. So SKT liking the Camille pick on blue side this series.
So that clearly points to Camille and the picks not being the reason for the substitution of Puni. It had to have been the play, the communication, just not feeling it, and almost a complete draft. Whoa, Kuro's going to take Arya? I highly doubt it. It's going to be the Victor instead. Wave clear for days.
Yeah, you can just chill mid against that Orianna. We've seen solo kills before, but probably unlikely. As you were saying, probably just going to sit there, farm it up. Got a nice bit of wave clear. It's going to be a lot harder to see Afreeca now.
I like this draft a lot from Afreeca. This time around, they have enough physical damage, enough CC, engage tools, the ability to collapse from just insane ranges with Abyssal Voyage and the distance that both Elise with mobility boots and the flag and drag from Jarvan. But then you have SKT, Zach and Orianna, the ultimate ball delivery combo. It's so nasty, you don't even need to combo all the abilities together. Kidnap plus Shockwave will surely be more than enough to kill everybody on the team. So the team fighting from SKT has to be on point, and they have struggled with the mechanics in Game 1 and Game 2, so putting all the emphasis on mechanics on Game 3 is a huge surge of confidence that the coaches are giving to the players.
Yeah, but if they can line it up even just once, definitely would mean a huge win for SKT in that team fight at least. Blank, he gets Zach. He was looking really strong on his Lee Sin mechanics. I'm sure he himself is very confident on his Zach mechanics. We get to see Untara's Camille as well in the top lane. And this time, we got Kuro on that Victor. He played it before. I think he did win that game. And Tushin on that Tom Kench. Really excited to see him playing that as well. Him and Spirit had a lot of teamwork in game number 1 on the red side. So here we go, guys. Game 3 of SKT versus the Afreeca Freaks. Let's do it. The cheers are 100% female. I did not hear one guy.
This is such a change from the NALCS.
Oh, yes. It's nice.
It's a welcome change.
The cheers have been just getting louder and louder.
Well, the games have been fire, so understandably so. More people showing up. They're hearing their friends tell them, you gotta come check this out. You're not gonna believe it. Afrika took them down in game 1. SKT, blank 2 games in a row. Now they have Zach. Who wouldn't want to watch? If you love League of Legends, you're watching.
There's like a couple of people out there that love League of Legends and they're not watching. Those poor guys.
Oh, you'll watch the VODs.
Definitely a series to remember we're having tonight.
As many of SKT's series are.
Mm-hmm. I know some people are disappointed that Peanut lost his undefeated Lee Sin streak, but to be honest, his Lee Sin didn't look too impressive in that game.
Just same start, 3 games in a row. Raptors into mirroring each other. He's going to dodge away from the final Raptor, and instead the duo lane from SKT will be leashing that red buff, and just makes me so happy to see a bot lane help out your jungler this much, especially when it's Zach out of all picks. One that requires those early levels. If you get him ahead, he will help you back. He'll gank your lane. That's all his job is, just gank, and team fight. So if you ensure that he's in a position where he can feel safe invading or not having to worry about face checking in the least, then the Zach gets to farm and gets to really abuse the late game power and mid game ganks that is this tanky blob.
Tanky blob deciding not to go for an invade even after the big leash onto red.
Oh, no, you're not going to invade a Zach.
Yeah.
Not at this level.
And the timing is actually very similar in terms of when both the junglers do get to the opposite side of their own jungle.
The timings where shoving top lane on Nuntara wards the Krugs and make sure that the blast cone is no longer there, preventing Spirit from having another route to gank the top set. And in the meantime, Kramer, we saw him mirror the same thing, pushes out the bottom lane, and while he can't proc the blast cone over the Dragon Pit, he can ward for it. So he places a ward in front of the pit, and now Untara is completely protected with 2 wards into the top set, but Spirit does get pinged out. The intuition from both these teams have been on point in figuring out where the junglers start, where they finish, and where they will go next.
They can exactly ping him. 3 clears out one of those wards. And just invading a little bit, getting some deep vision. Gonna put down 1 ward here. You can see the bottom lane of SKT does respond by backing off and laying down some defensive wards of their own.
Now, as soon as he goes into the jungle, you have to respect him ganking from behind, using the blast cone to get over to Krugs, or even repelling, and it's apparent with the vision that they've placed. A green ward in the try, and then another one over the wall to make sure that if Elise takes a route that does not get scouted out by the tri-rush ward, that she will still be found and buys enough time for SKT to retreat. So both teams playing well with their vision in respect to the jungle ganks. And this will only benefit SKT as their late game fighting with Zac and Orianna is something that always took the rest.
Tushin getting locked up here by Zion in the bot lane. Don't want to be taking too much damage, getting too low against that kind of lane. Because they definitely can have some pressure against the Tahm Kench early on.
And it's cool to see how, even though now Blank will get spotted out, they had no idea where he was before because the wards did not scout somebody coming through the lane into the doubles. And as such, now they still have no idea where he is. Pings can simply be speculative as they know or have an idea that he's in the blue side, but where he's warding or what he's doing is completely unknown to Afrika. All they know is that there are no camps for him to take, so pings go on to vision, and that's about it.
Yeah, look at the positioning of Kuro, too, because of that. Backs all the way up. Doesn't want to pressure against Faker underneath the turret.
Kramer shoots out a Sentinel into his side of the jungle, try to get as much information on Blank.
Here comes Spirit, going to use that blasting plant. Try to get over here. Doesn't scout Blank at the Wolves. He's making his way up into the top lane. Will they try to go for this? Martin is extremely low on mana. It looks like Spirit will just recall.
Low chance of a dive succeeding here. Camille can outplay you with her stun, so going for a dive without the flag and drag from Jarvan would be risky to say the least.
Another Dark Seal for Spirit on the Elise.
Into Mobies as well.
It's almost like we've seen this before, Crumbs.
3 times exactly. 3rd time's the charm, perhaps.
Well, the first time was the charm for them. We'll see if they can make it to tonight. Well, we'll definitely have a lot of map presence with that kind of build with the Moby boots. Trying to match the Zac ganks.
It does unfortunately slow him down in the clear. Normally you'd want to have either your Tracker's Knife to start warding out, try to account for Zac, but Zac is difficult to find as his range of engage is nearly impossible to completely label. And this is where we might see the first rotation from the bottom lane. A lot of times teams like to swap out at 10 minutes, try to get a tier 1 advantage, but it'll only be Tucson, and he does get scouted out. So how is SKT going to react to this? Going for Vision in the deep blue side would be my first guess. And Zac and Lulu are now pairing up, looking for something good.
Tucson coming on in, Blank trying to clear the Scuttle Crab. Wolf has been sitting in this brush for so long. There's the Polymorph onto this level 6. Forced to flash the Shockwave is Kuro. Will not have that flash for a long time.
Great patience there from Wolf, and what he does is simply a sacrifice because he has eyes on Tucson. He knows that Tucson,
Ooh, okay. Gonna force out the Ghost this time. So they get both of the summoners from Kuro.
And now Blank is in a great position to revisit this lane. Has flashed, is level 6. Kuro is just a sitting duck. But we were saying how Wolf stays in that brush. Well, he does see that Tucson is also roaming, not getting any experience. And while he could have been in lane, trying to get himself ahead, decides, you know what, I'm just a supportive guy. I'm going to make sure that I can get my carries ahead in exchange for my own experience. As opposed to me getting ahead, I'll stay even and give some of the advantage over to Faker.
Ooh, Blank is going to get that smite, wins the battle against Spirit, takes the blue buff. Marin comes in, spots the blue, but Blank turning up big. Just a small advantage for his team, which is pretty nice. Taking that blue away from the Victor.
And now when Orianna gets her own blue buff, Kuro won't have his to match, so he's going to lose pressure in that lane, and that pressure can result in him getting dove. He didn't find the window there because he came from the blue side. It was too obvious, and Kuro respected, played left side.
Ooh, okay. Cataclysm forces the flash out of Untara in the top lane.
Look at the pressure they have on mid lane, just insane.
Uh-oh, Faker here. He does pop his Ghost immediately and still does have the flash, but the Cocoon comes in. Lots of burst damage coming down onto Faker, but he will get away after using both of his summoners.
And a great gank from Spirit. Trade summoners, and now Kuro, who was unable to play up, now is dealing with an Orianna who also doesn't have summoners. So at least with her on flash is in a great position to also gank this lane, and now both mid laners are going to have to account for the junglers more than anything else in this lane.
You can see Blank just hanging around. There is a ping right on top of him, but that pressure is always there until Kuro does get his summoners back. And still no first blood. 9.5 minutes into the game. And very, very even in terms of the CS score. The gold is exactly even.
As you say that, 100 off.
Yeah. Now it's not exactly even. It was for just a moment.
No math.
No math on the stream. It's banned.
Well, the tension is high for this matchup. There's Abyssal Voyage.
Oh, okay. They're coming on in here. It is Tushin and Spirit. They do land that Cocoon onto Wolf. There is the heal. He will back off. Spirit does get eaten up by the Tahm Kench, and well, they just force some more summoners out.
They get 2 more, and it's good to see these teams being proactive with the tools they have. Ganks in mid, roams. They still have Fate's Call if Wolf is to overstep, so he has to play far back and still shoot to hit that level 6, as very clearly Tucson hit level 6 before him. At least when they have that, the chances of getting dove are diminished as the tankiness of your carry or yourself go through the roof.
Kuro still doesn't have his flash, but he does have Ghost. But you can see Blank lining up for that as Elise is just doing Krugs, but Kuro very, very safe.
It's just so hard to gank Victor when he went with CDR boots. So tier 2 as his first purchase. That means his flash is going to come up sooner, which is a smart pickup against the heavy engage that SKT have. And to top things off, with your laser, it becomes a breeze to just press E, clear the minion wave, sit back and relax it. The only window that SKT have of killing him is in a dive.
Basically just don't die. We'll see if Tucson can do exactly that. There's the Kidnap. Does have a lot of gray health, but there's the Polymorph with the Ignite from Wolf. And even with the Wild Growth, they cannot pick up the kill onto the tanky Tom Kench.
The collapse from Afrika was much sooner than what SKT can offer. Kramer can always move up, save Tucson with a Fate's Call, then you have Faker who is dealing with the minion wave, and Elise with mobility boots. So understandable for them to commit and then back off, although it is a Tom Kench, so questionable choice, as you still have squishy targets that a kill would net a significantly higher gain than just killing a Tom Kench, whose sole job later in the game is just to voyage people in and devour.
Looks like Blank was doing Ocean Drake by himself, as Wolf is nearby clearing out vision. But
yeah, that's a terrible choice.
Yeah.
Ocean is actually the toughest dragon for you to kill. And if you don't have high DPS as a jungler, you are not going to be taking it down anytime soon. So he gets punished, has to back off, and the punishment is that he's wasted some of his time. If he had an advantage, it's no longer there, and if he was at a disadvantage, then it gets even bigger.
Marin looking to proxy the wave here, trying to extend his lead in the top lane. Seems like he's been doing pretty well. He's not that far ahead, but definitely has a small lead.
The possibility in the bottom lane. They have to go in Tucson, though.
Okay, there's the Cataclysm. Another forced flash from Untara, really respecting the Jarvan of Marin.
And the minion wave is what makes Untara's choice to flash easy to do. You can't trade back against Marin there when there's so many creeps that if you were to even try that, you have to deal with 7 minions attacking you at the same time. Just no chance of you winning that battle. So he flashes right away, make sure that he doesn't get chunked, and put himself in an opportunity to get dope.
We might have our first big advantage for one of these teams as Spirit, level 8 Elise, able to solo that Rift Herald. And Blank nowhere in position. He's doing this blue buff. Trying to steal this away from the Victor once again. Can he get it? No! Actually, Kuro picks up the blue, so they can't even steal the blue. And look at this Rift Herald. Spirit about to pick it up.
Great distraction from Afrika to go for the blue buff while they're doing the Herald. However, Kuro does pick it up, and this means that the Herald power will actually be diminished because you want to use it against Victor, the lane that you need to crack down, that mid lane turret, as quickly as possible. But now that he has blue buff, the ability to spam the wave and keep himself relevant in this lane is going to be too much for lonely Herald to take it down.
Okay, we got another trade up here. Marin this time doesn't want to take it, even with the level up. Blue buff about to spawn here for Faker. Will make things a little bit easier for him against Rift Herald. And still no kill. Almost 15 minutes into the game.
Yeah, all right. It's happening. Team's just going to go late into this one. Summoners are up all around.
Well, Smite's down for Blank.
Damn.
Okay, looking for something here onto Faker. He does have his flash still. There's the Abyssal Voyage too. Oh, and he gets the Cocoon. Spirit able to line that up. Showing up big this time on the Elise. Picks up first blood.
As soon as we let down, the game picks right back up, and that's going to be tier 1 going down to them. Here comes Herald taking down this objective. It's a 3-man push with only Lulu collapsing with a red buff here. There it is. Great Cocoon there from Spirit, and Faker just did not account for the mobility that Elise gets from those Moby boots. She wasn't hit, so the speed was still there, and an easy pickup leads to a big objective.
Yes, definitely massive there. Faker not even using his flash. Okay, we got a fight up here in the top lane, extremely close. Untara looks like he has the advantage, but the rest of the team of Afrika able to rotate up into the top lane. There's that repel onto Untara. Spirit with another kill on his Elise.
Afrika is turning up the heat now. They're going to aim for that tier 1 to the top side, and only an Ocean Dragon to answer for SKT. Blank is finally going to go for this objective, but it's already, the laning phase is over. The value of this dragon is not quite high. Here we go again on this replay. He's going to dodge downwards, but the cocoon, flash, right on the edge. Great play from Spirit.
League of Legends can be a game of milliseconds at times. Inches.
Micro. Oh, I guess I forgot the unit. I don't know what the unit is in empirical. What's smaller than inches?
Inches?
Yeah. You have centimeters, meters, milliliter, or centimeters, milli-inches. That's why that system sucks.
No, it's not milli-inches. I think it's just like...
I have some ideas, but it's definitely not suitable for broadcast.
Micro-inches, perhaps. Oh, going back onto Bang here. Kramer looking for this, and with the Callista, it's so hard to get away. Featherstorm not going to land, and there's the Rend. Bang, eating a ton of damage. Another trade going Afrika's way.
Spirit in position for a counter gank, and so is Blank. They're looking for action on this map, but Blank has not been able to find anything.
Okay, we got not much happening there. Actually, both of the summoners down right now for Kuro, whereas
Kuro topside.
Yeah, he was hanging around. It was so funny to see the difference between Kuro and Spirit in their reaction to kills. Spirit looked super happy, whereas Kuro was just stone face, just like Pawn.
Yeah, about time you ganked my lane. Jeez, I've been calling for help 24/7.
All those assistance pings in mid lane. I think the mid laners are just cold stone killers. Stone cold killers, rather. Faker himself, one of those. Okay, we have a collapse here onto Untara, who flashes, but the easy Cataclysm after gets the stun on Tamarin, and Spirit actually not able to get close enough to do any damage. And so Untara just gets away, has to blow his flash.
Poor layering of the CC there. Had he known Cataclysm was coming out sooner, I'm sure he would have waited onto the cocoon. But Untara does walk away, only burning his flash for this, so not a big deal. Now Afrika, they are 2,500 gold up, but their composition will only snowball around Dragon and Baron. There's a minute 20 on it. They can poise to go for that objective, but it would be too early, and I think it would create a window for SKT to abuse them, similar to Game 1, where they go inside the pit and get collapsed on, and once again, Blank going for the blue buff invade just has been so on top of this timer. This time around, it seems like everybody's ready for this.
And it's so funny to see how long he sticks around. Tucson almost able to gobble him up. Blue will go to Victor once again, so Blank failing a couple of times in a row here.
Still no lane swap from the top and bottom lane, so Baron still not being considered. There is an Infernal Dragon up next, however, so Afrika, with so many carries in their lineup, understandably preparing for the objective.
Just waiting around here. You can see all of Afrika looking for some vision. Lots of pings down in that tri-brush.
They're looking for Wolf. If Wolf face checks this and they back off right away, they don't want to commit to this crazy play. If a collapse were to happen, it would have been disaster.
Bang, being whimsy, pushing forward. Both of the bottom lanes for these teams are 0-0-0.
Whew. Get my blood rushed there.
We've seen multiple attempts for the junglers to come down and make some action happen, but...
Well, it's on the knife's edge. One lost fight at this stage would mean Baron easily. Both these teams can tank it and take it down in a matter of seconds, and as such, the advantages would be too much to handle. None of them have siege, so the pressure from the side lanes, if they won 3-1, would result in what SKT did to Afrika last game, where the Karma and Jarvan just cracked the base with one Baron push, and that's the last thing you want to see.
Okay, they're looking to trade a kill here onto Bang for that turret. Kuro is here too. And Kramer coming on in. They will give that kill over to Kuro, who is trying to chase after Rolf here with the help of Tushin. Meanwhile, SKT just pushing the mid lane, looking to get a second turret for this trade.
Good response there. At least they get the mid-tier 1. This is what happens when Kuro leaves the lane to go for a gank.
Oh, a huge trade up in the top lane. So close, but Untara with the stun in the end picks up that kill.
And he ends up outplaying the former SKT member. Even though he's a little bit down in CS and has been ganked repeatedly, he still prevails in the one-on-one matchup with the completed Trinity Force, just making full use of that hook shot right at the end. But it looks like they're collapsing, and Spirit might get surprised here as there is...
Oh boy, okay, will not get knocked up, but has to use his flash.
He's got no business defending this. You're a Moby's Elise. Group up.
Group up, son. Saw Kuro making his way top 2, but that's a third turret going over to SKT. Here's the trade.
See, this is exactly what happened in the previous time where Untara flashed out of the Cataclysm because there was minion advantage. This time around, Marin gets overconfident, goes on the trade where the minion advantage is in Untara's side, and they make a difference.
It's a long trade.
That game of inches does matter for every tiny little auto attack, and that might cost him the advantage in this split push matchup. And if he ends up losing pressure now, it's a window for SKT to crack open the base and start getting advantages somewhere on the map.
Afrika easily able to take this Infernal Drake. No response from SKT.
They've got their eyes on Faker. They're playing it cool.
Faker with his own scanner. They got 3 of those on the side of SKT, just 2 on the side of Afrika. Decide to go for 2 blue trinkets.
Blue trinket choice, always a wise one when you're dealing with Zach. Vision denial is not going to do a whole lot of justice there. Oh,
Wolf. He gets away with that, actually. Little Lulu running through the forest.
Luckily, Spirit was in spider form, not in position to go for a cocoon, but the whimsy keeps him safe. Just so whimsical around the map with mobility boots and such speed. Still 4 kills in 24 minutes, so that's 6 kills per minute.
6 kills per minute.
No, 1 kill every 6 minutes.
What did we say about math earlier?
Yeah.
Huge burst damage onto Kuro. Tucson forced to eat him, and that's going to be a failed gank with 4 members up in top lane for Afrika.
That shows how dangerous Faker is right now. No magic resistance from these mid laners. They're all damaged. So if they can end up hurting each other, they're likely capable of one-shotting every single one. But I'm going to go back on the math. It was correct, by the way. 24 divided by 6.
6 kills a minute.
Yeah. No, 1 kill every 6 minutes.
Yeah,
so
there you go.
The numbers were right. It was the statement that was incorrect.
So you got it there at the end. Another turret going SKT's way down in bot lane. As you can see the macro of SKT coming out in the end of it. Mace dodged there with the Whimsy, really helping out against the Cocoon. Marin does have that Cataclysm, doesn't decide to go onto Untara just yet.
Afrika need to calm down and reset. Their attempt onto Faker really slowed them down, and that's what led Untara to be able to take that tier 2 into the bottom lane. They try once again to catch him out, but Faker finds a way to just push this top lane, farming off by himself. He's now sitting at a level advantage in 40 CS over Kuro, and that's going to keep him from being a monster in team fights. And if he's able to hit a shockwave on Kalista, Victor, or even Elise, this fight is sure to be won.
Look at how greedy Faker gets with that push, too. He knows the Abyssal Voyage is down. He knows that no one can really collapse, and they had enough vision and presence on the map to know exactly where Afrika would be and how much damage they could get done onto a second tier 2 turret in the top lane.
Is that really greed if you have the knowledge?
I suppose not. Still a very close game, and Afrika does have the better Drake for the end game.
Items are coming in hot now. Faker has yet to fight and make the most out of his Dark Seal. He sure loves the Dark Seal. I love the change that they did to it with Medjai is no longer just being your flat-out item. You have a reason to start off with the Dark Seal, and then you can decide, okay, how am I feeling this game? You know what? Yeah, I want to snowball like crazy. However, I do miss Leviathan. Do you remember Leviathan?
That was a long time ago.
So there were the 3 occult items, whereas the Sword of the Occult, Medjai's Soul Stealer, and Leviathan. So Medjai's would give you 15% or 10% cooldown reduction when you max it out.
Yeah.
Then you have Sword of the Occult, which at max it gives you AD, and at max tax it gives you movement speed for some reason. It makes sense. People loved it.
Yeah.
And then the final one was Leviathan, which built off a ruby crystal, and it gave you 15% damage reduction when you capped it out.
That
So
sounds pretty fair.
If you ever play a troll game, you'd always go into normals and you buy all 3 and you try to, on a Kali where you can make the most out of HP, damage reduction, movement speed, cooldown reduction, and those are the days.
I guess they got rid of Leviathan first.
Yes.
Okay.
No, I think it was Sword, actually. Both at the same time.
Is saved here by Kramer, his buddy. Yeah, I remember when they got rid of the Sword, I just forgot about the Leviathan.
Yeah, I think that one must have come in first. It was just too broken.
Taro now, after getting that extra gold overall, and Spirit caught out once again in the jungle, just roaming by himself. Kidnap is not going to be on time as a repel comes down, but a perfect shockwave from Faker will finish off that kill. Now Tushin on the run. No Fate's calling this time around, but will get away. Bang, trying to go deep against Kuro, taking a bit of damage himself, but will survive. Trading back and forth. Here's Blank, taking up that turret, and that will be enough to take him out. So 2 kills going over the side of SKT, and Marin can't seem to deal with this Camille in the bot lane.
Well, he keeps poised to look for a collapse, but Camille is so strong after winning that 1v1. And SKT respond with a Baron right away. What's Afrika going to do about this? They have Marin capable of teleporting in if they need it. Faker does have his flash, so I think SKT is strong enough to turn if they want.
Yep. The members of SKT are pretty low, but at the same time, Afrika decides to go on to the Camille.
They just have no vision.
Yeah, they can't go to the Baron, so they decide to go for this. But with the hook shot, oh man, the flash coming out from Marin, missing Intara, and they don't get the kill either.
I think he's been tilted off that 1v1 loss. It was so close, and that would have dictated the entire pace of this top lane matchup, which now is playing into the hands of SKT beautifully. Camille can deal with Jarvan under turret. She now is looking for a Guardian. Angel has a Hydra completed, Trinity Force, and we're going to take another look here at Spirit getting cut out. Unfortunate for him to be the undoing of Afrika, but SKT punish it right away, and while the Kidnap misses, the Shockwave is on point, and Tucson commits to the flash. That forces the Fate's Call to save him. They can now engage with comfort onto Kuro, who thinks he's in safety under the turret, but you always have to account for Zach, who we still have yet to see his passive pop.
Yeah, he's been alive the entire game. Not broken up into little jelly pieces yet. Sitting at 1-0-1 is Blank on the Zac. Perhaps not as flashy as the Lee Sin, but definitely has a big part in this game.
And it's disheartening. It's heart-wrenching. You love them, but you hate them for it. Why does Afrika do this to us all the time? Game 1, they come out swinging, but they just drop the ball in draft in a couple of moments. Then game 3, it just looks all over the place. Here comes an engage onto Faker, it seems, and he just walks away to the right.
Yeah, we even have a TP from Marin. They want to collapse hardcore. No TP from Intara just yet. They have a lot of wards that he could TP to. Trying to get onto Marin here is Blank. There's the TP in from Intara. Will cancel it. And so Marin decides, oh, I'm going to turn around again, but he actually eats a chunk, and the engage doesn't work, they're going to lose another turret here in the top lane.
Baited and outplayed. SKT gets the engage from Afrika. It doesn't go to anything, and they cancel out the teleport. So now Antara is able to pick up the inhibitor into the top side.
Looks like he will have to back away, but still, that is a very low inhibitor, and SKT has another really strong push into the bot lane. Afrika just being torn apart, and you said the T word, you said tilt. It's looking a little bit like it. It's lack of consistency, and it seems like they've just fallen apart into the mid game, and SKT just doing SKT things.
2 inhibitors going down, and I have to think that the big turning point for this game was when they went for the Abyssal Voyage dive onto the bottom side, where Kuro left the mid lane and lost control, and once that mid lane turret went down, it was all over.
Yeah, Blank coming on in, gonna smack 2 heads together. Kidnap doesn't get anyone, but Tushin popping out, it looks like. Going to be dropped down here is extremely tanky. Marin trying to lock them in turret range. It's not going to work. Bang with a triple kill on the back of it. Faker picking up 1 for himself. And finally we see that Zac passive come through as SKT looking to end this one.
They're the ultimate Cinderella story every time. Pumpkin at midnight. You want to love them.
You want to love them. They looked so good in game 1, but not going to happen. Another kill comes down, and the death timers are too long. That's going to be game number 3 going to SKT, who get another 2-1 victory.
And Blank remains undefeated. Still the kingpin.